Please welcome my first guest, Jason Honaker, a physician assistant with Novant Health Oceanside Family Medicine here in Bolivia. Jason, thank you for coming today.
Well, thanks for having me.
And you're my very first guest in 2023.
All right.
That feels pretty good.
It feels nice.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the year, we always talk about health and wellness. You know, it's one of those things. We all ate too much. It's always a hot topic this time of year. So we have a lot of ground to cover, so we'll just get started. So research shows that physical health is one of the most common New Year's resolutions. Do you find that in your practice?
Sure. I mean, working in family medicine, I mean, it's a big topic of conversation this time of year. Everybody's got their resolutions, or everyone wants to talk about diet and exercise and what they can do to improve their health. So.
Yeah. And tell me, what are some of the important ways that we can take care of our physical health, like regular checkups, things like that?
Sure. I mean, so, and none of this is revolutionary. It's the same information that we've been giving people forever, right? And it's, I think a lot of it is having consistency in some of these things. But, you know, I talk to my patients about proper nutrition, you know, making sure that they're getting a varied diet, plenty of fruits and vegetables and lean meats, trying to stay away from all the junk food as much as we can. It's been a tough time of year for that.
I guess it's something we probably need to do year round.
Yeah, of course.
Not just after the first of the year.
Definitely. Consistency is key. Talking about make sure we're getting good sleep.
Yeah.
I think people discount that a lot when it comes to part of our health, making sure restorative sleep is how our body heals itself.
It's hard to get sometimes. It depends on how busy you are, what kind of work you do.
Sure.
That's
and
really hard.
We're always on our phones, or we've got the TV on late at night. So my patients that are having sleep difficulties, I was talking to them about putting their phone away, you know, turning the TV off an hour or so, you know, before bed. Try reading an actual book.
What is it about the phone that keeps you?
Well, it's got there's some light, like, I don't know if you've seen this, like the blue light glasses, you know, to try to filter some of that out. So it can mess with our body's sort of, and our mind's ability to kind of turn off. We also just have busy minds, and I think all the scrolling doesn't help with that.
But I seem to have trouble turning it off. I keep thinking through what happened today, what do I have to do tomorrow, what am I going to wear, what am I, you know, all these.
You know, I talk to my patients about like mindfulness exercises, and you know, our phones can be good and bad. Some of the good things is I talk to my patients about, you know, there are apps to help with like meditation and things like that to sort of calm our brains down at the end of the day. So that's one of the good things that we can do
with the phone
with them. Sure. Exercise, obviously, everybody starts going to the gym, you know, at the beginning of the year. So staying active, you know, very important.
Yeah. Let's talk about preventative care. Why is it important to have a regular physical or an annual well visit?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of benefits to it. I think one of it is with our well visits, we usually try to do blood work, just routine sort of screening labs. Keeping track of, you know, some things that are important indicators for health, like our blood sugar, our cholesterol. You know, we look at check for anemia and our electrolytes and liver enzymes and kidney function, all these things, you know, sort of markers of good health. And some patients already have some issues in those areas, like our diabetics, we're monitoring their kidney function. And so, and then people that, you know, I do have some patients, thankfully, that don't have a lot of chronic health issues. So, you know, we do those labs just to keep check on everything and make sure, you know, that they're staying in the green.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to have that sort of that boss of all your health care. Being in primary care, you sort of are the coach. And
yeah, you know, I tell my patients we're their home base.
Yes.
You know, we're the place where if they get sick, they come see us first. You know, we manage most of their chronic health conditions, you know, to a point, unless it sort of reaches beyond the bounds of family medicine, and then we set them up with the appropriate specialists. But having a place where they can come once a year and say, here are the updates with what's been going on with me and my health, you know, this past year or in the past 6 months or whatever it's been, so we can make sure that we're not missing anything, and that you know, everything that needs to be done is being done appropriately.
Yeah, and you monitor their or encourage them to get their routine colonoscopies and
Sure.
mammography
Sure,
things.
that's part of the annual physical as well. So making sure that they're getting those routine, age-appropriate screenings and saying, okay, you're 45 now, right? So they've just lowered the age of
Yeah, they just lowered
colonoscopies,
that.
Yeah, from 50 to 45 this year. So we're saying, all right, you're 45, and it catches some people off guard. It's time to go ahead and get the colon cancer
I'm too
screening.
young. I don't
Not
need
anymore. And doing their mammograms and pap smears and
Yeah.
everything, just keeping up with routine health checks. And it's important to do those things. I remind them because early detection of cancers, it always increases the favorable prognosis and treatment outcomes.
Do you get much pushback when you start talking colonoscopies?
Sure. I mean, look.
Not everybody hates the prep.
Yeah, it's always the prep. I mean, once patients go through it, and it's changed, some.
Yeah.
It definitely has improved
Yeah,
from the old preps, but I remind them everybody's got to do it. It's all part of it. We can be a community that's gone through the misery together.
Talk to your neighbors. They've all had them.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important topics now since the pandemic is mental health. Let's talk a little bit about that. Talk about resources and how we get folks the help they need.
Yeah.
Do you find more of that now?
I do. Yeah, I actually have seen quite a bit more, and it's always hard to know whether or not it's just because people are coming in more and maybe they feel more comfortable,
Right.
talking about it, or if there actually is more. But I definitely have seen more in my office. First step is coming in to talk to somebody about it, and for a lot of people that's the hardest
That's
step.
the hardest step.
Just to say, I know that there's an issue that I need some help with. And once they get in the door and we can have these conversations and I talk to them about different avenues of treatments, there's no one-size-fits-all treatment for anybody, but we talk about things like mindfulness techniques and exercise and proper nutrition and sleep, seeing therapists, sometimes medication, if that's appropriate, if that's what they need, or a combination of all of those things. So we take it on a case-by-case basis. In some patients we set up with a dedicated specialist, for mental health care. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, the first step is getting in the door and talking to someone.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And I think that people think just because they're having some down days, they think, but we really need to think about it. We're ignoring some of the signs.
And down days are common and normal.
Yeah, they
Everybody
are.
gets them, but it's when those down days are more common than not, or when they are significantly affecting our quality of life, or our relationships with our friends and family and work. And
Well, Jason, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
It's a
Thank
pleasure
you
being
so
here.
much
Thank
for
you for
being
having
my
me.
first guest of 23.
Well, I'm excited. Thank
And
you for
I
having
wish
me.
you the best in this new year.
Thank you.